Doctor, do you support, if the mother is healthy and the baby's healthy, do you support abortion up to the moment of birth?
So, Senator, you're using really inflammatory language to talk about a medical procedure, and it's not a simple yes or no. Not to mention, when you make statements like that, you're erasing the grief and the trauma that my patients
You're not
are
going to
going
answer my
through.
question either, are you?
It's not a question that can be
I
answered
think
in
I
an
know your
appropriate
answer.
way.
I think I know your answer. Mrs. Ford.
So today we're looking at a very controversial topic for many people because we're looking at a debate of pro-life Senator John Neely Kennedy against a counselor for women being asked about their view on the pro-life stance and rights of an unborn baby. It's gonna be very, very interesting. So let's look into it.
Reproductive justice is economic justice, close quote. Do you agree with that?
I might, as an economist, use the word rights, but yeah, I do agree with that.
Okay. That's not true for the baby, is it?
Well, first of all, I would refer to a fetus, not
Yeah,
a baby.
but that's, well, a fetus. I refer to it as a baby. That's not true for the baby, is it?
The evidence that I presented to you, Senator Kennedy, was evidence about measurable effects on the lives of women, families,
Right. I
and
got
children
that
who were
part, but that's
born.
not true for the baby, is it?
I'm sorry, I don't really understand.
Well, it's
the
not
question.
true. Let me be clear.
Let me
I'm
back
sorry.
up. As an economist, I measure effects using data. I'm not here to talk about ethics, assignment of personhood. That's not my
Well, but you
role.
said you agreed with the chairman's statement that reproductive justice is economic justice. There is no economic justice for the baby because the baby's dead, right?
I wouldn't refer. I don't really know how to answer your question. I would refer to
Was
a
the baby
fetus.
dead or alive?
We're referring to a fetus.
Okay. Is the fetus dead or alive after an abortion?
The fetus would be dead after an abortion.
All right. If the mother is healthy and the baby is healthy, do you support abortion up to the moment of birth?
So I think that's a really hard question to answer because that just doesn't happen. You're asking me about something that simply doesn't happen.
Well, it's legal.
I will tell you
It's legal in Vermont, New Jersey, Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Alaska, and the District of Columbia, and the Loon wing of the Democratic Party supports abortion up to the moment of birth. So, do you support that or oppose it?
I don't think. Let me say, I'm here to talk about the economics of abortion.
No, you're here as an expert.
And I
think
you're asking me a question as a person, which I'll answer as a person.
Okay, tell me as a person.
I will tell you as a person that I have ambivalence about abortion. I will tell you as a person, I haven't personally had an abortion. And I will also tell you as a person looking at the evidence around me and understanding how complex the decisions are that people face.
Okay.
I'm just simply uncomfortable.
I got to move on,
thinking that
Professor,
there's a
'cause I don't
simple
think
answer
you're
that
going to
applies
answer
to
my
everyone.
question.
I trust women and their healthcare providers.
It's real simple. You either support abortion for a healthy mother and baby up to the moment of birth or you don't. And I don't think it's a difficult question. How about you, doctor? Do you support, if the mother is healthy and the baby's healthy, do you support abortion up to the moment of birth?
So, Senator, you're using really inflammatory language to talk about a medical procedure, and it's not a simple yes or no. Not to mention, when you make statements like that, you're erasing the grief and the trauma that my patients
You're not
are
going to
going
answer my
through.
question either, are you?
It's not a question that can be
I
answered
think I
in
know
an
your
appropriate
answer.
way.
I think I know your answer. Mrs. Ford. Okay. Let's take a baby at 21 weeks. Hold up, Mike. This is a baby at 21 weeks. Okay. The baby can feel pain, right?
Yes.
And the baby's pretty developed, right?
Yes.
And do you know the name of the procedure that the doctor would use to abort that baby at 21 weeks?
I'm not a doctor, but I believe it's a DNR.
It's called dilation and evacuation. And then the doctor would take what's called the doctor would call it a Sofer clamp. It's really a pair of pliers with sharp teeth on the end. And without giving the baby any pain medication, and start tearing the baby apart. Is that right?
As far as I understand the procedure.
Yeah. And she might start with the legs and pull them out, and the arms and pull them out, right? And then she might go for the heart or the spine and just pull the baby out piece by piece. Is that right? Without giving the baby pain medication.
That's what I understand the procedure to be.
Okay. So then the doctor would go in and use those pliers to crush the baby's head. Is that right?
As far as I understand.
And then she'd pull the head out, the crushed skull out, right?
So this hearing was a very powerful lesson in seeking clarity on one of the most difficult topics of our time. Senator John Kennedy's approach was very effective because he patiently cut through the complicated clinical language to ask simple and honest questions. He took a debate that is very often discussed in abstract terms like rights and justice and gently brought it back to the real human reality as its center. And the conversation begins with Senator Kennedy pointing out a very simple truth because he heard the phrase reproductive justice is economic justice and asked a question no one else was asking. That's not true for the baby, is it? With that one question, he brought the focus back to the unborn child, reminding every single one of the listeners that there are two lives involved in this decision, its procedure, and not just one. The first witness immediately prefers to use the word fetus instead of baby, and this is a very common way to create emotional distance from the reality of the situation. But Kennedy is quite smart, I must say, and doesn't let the conversation stay that distant. He asks a very basic question once again, and after an abortion, the baby, is it dead or is it alive? And the experts struggle to answer this very simple question. And this shows how difficult it is to face the direct consequences of the procedure they are so rigorously fighting for. And next, Senator Kennedy asks a question to understand the principle behind the pro-choice position. He asks if they support abortion for a healthy mother and a healthy baby right up until the moment of birth. And the witness responds by saying that just doesn't happen at all. And this is a common response that misses the point completely. Kennedy isn't asking how often it happens, he's asking what they actually believe is right to do in such a kind of situation. And he points out that this is legal in some places, so it's a real question of principle. And when the witnesses are unwilling to give a straight answer, it suggests that the pro-choice position they hold doesn't have a clear moral line to it. And they can't say when an unborn child's life becomes worthy of protection. And this is where the conversation becomes very difficult, but also very honest. And Senator Kennedy holds up a model of a 21-week-old baby, a moment in the development process of a child we actually know it can feel pain. And he then calmly asks for a description of the most common abortion method being used at that stage. And his questions are very direct and descriptive because he believes that to have an honest debate about abortion, we have to be willing to talk about the procedure that is actually how it actually is, and not just use some vague medical terms that nobody is able to understand. And he isn't trying to be shocking for the sake of it. He's trying to ensure that everyone in the room, even the most dumbest people, understand the physical reality of what is being discussed here. He feels it's very important to be truthful about the violence of the act, especially towards a human that can feel pain. And when the chairman cuts him off right at that very moment, it's just very telling. And it seems like the plain unvarnished truth was just too uncomfortable for the committee to hear any longer. And in the very end, Kennedy's goal was not to be cruel or to corner his witnesses in any kind of way. His goal was to bring honesty and moral clarity to the conversation that was discussed, and he wanted to peel back the layer of safe clinical language and ask everyone to look at the undeniable humanity of the unborn child and the reality of what happens in the process of abortion. And he showed that true compassion requires us to face uncomfortable truth, especially when the most vulnerable among us have no voice to speak for themselves.